how to plan your running for Hyrox. So you might have seen where you should do a long slow run, an interval run, and then a tempo or threshold run. That can work, but is it the best way? No, I definitely don't think so. What I'm going to go through is more of maybe a traditional running approach. And people will say you can't just combine a running approach with some Hyrox strength training. Yes, you can when you're not at the highest level. This video is aimed at the average Hyrox person. This is aimed at you if you do your Hyrox in an hour and a half or more. And what we're going to start off then is you're going to do a big base training phase. So what I mean by this is you're going to have phases here, here and here. You're going to have what we're going to class as the base phase, which is a lot of slow running and fast running. We're going to have an intermediate phase where it's going to be a bit quicker than your slow runs and then a bit slower than your fastest runs, then your specific Hyrox prep. So we're going to start off with the first phase because it's probably the most important and it's the one you can do for the longest. It's the one where you're going to really develop your aerobic base. So you've got slow runs, fast runs, both are really important. Let me explain to you what I mean by a slow run. So you might have heard zone 1, zone 2. All right, let's make this clear for everybody here. If you're running your Hyrox in an hour and a half or more, you probably won't be able to have a difference between zone 1 and 2. You're just going to have easy runs. And when I say easy, and I'm going to add some times to this, let's say the average 1 kilometre done at Hyrox is between 5:30 kilometres and 6-minute kilometres. So let's take this as a person who's doing 6-minute kilometres. So when you do your easy runs, I'm going to want you to do these at 7-minute kilometres. You might be thinking, that is really slow. It's a skill to learn. You have to learn how to run slow. You have to be prepared to run at a speed when with somebody's walking fast, you're going, oh, I'm barely catching this person up. And I'll explain the benefits of the slow runs, and it's not going to be what you think where you go, oh yeah, it's going to be your mitochondria, da, da, da. Yeah, you get all of that. What the slow runs do is they give you time on your feet. So while you're running, when you're running slow, that's a lot of contact on the ground, keep and going, keep and going, keep and going. Rather than going, I'll do 5K, do it fast. You're going to get used to running slow. You're going to get used to doing a lot of it. It's going to help build up all your joints, your ligaments, everything that's going to get you used to doing that amount of volume running. So that's your slow running. You're going to make it really easy. Your faster runs are what you might have heard of when people say they do strides. So what are strides? Strides are where you're going to add them at the end of your slower run. And what you're going to do, you're going to run fast, and I mean fast, but not a full out sprint. What you're doing here is you're learning to run fast, but being relaxed with it at the same time. If you're fighting for it with your arms and you're doing this, I've been there, I've done that on the treadmill, trying to really push it hard, it's too hard. You're not teaching yourself what you want to be teaching yourself. What you want to think of these short, faster runs is just to remind your body that you can still run fast while you're doing all this other slow training. So the speed of these faster runs want to be 5K pace, 2K pace, relaxed and fast. You're going to run for 10, 15 seconds, maybe up to 20 seconds. And you're going to keep it fast and controlled. So they're really important. Do that run, rest a minute, do it again. Build up to doing 6 of them at the end of a slow run. These shouldn't feel really tiring and really hard to do. When you run fast, you should go, actually, I felt quite relaxed. Oh, and I've now got a minute's rest. I can do that again. And when you first do it, do 4. Then after a couple of weeks, do 5. Build up to 6. You don't need to keep building that up and up and up. 6 is a good amount. Maybe push it up to 8. High level athletes, yeah, you're going to be doing more. But for the purpose of what we're doing, slow run, strides. And those strides, only do the strides maybe twice a week. You don't need to be doing them after every slow run that you're doing, every easy run that you're doing. So let's go. We've got it here. We've got it here. You can do that for ages, that phase of training, and build that base. Let's jump to the next phase. So what happens on the next phase is these easy runs become a little bit faster. Because what we're doing, we're gradually building up towards here, which is your specific Hyrox running speeds as such. So these become a bit faster than easy. Not loads faster. Let's say, so let's go with the theory. This was 7 minutes a kilometre here, 6 minute 30 kilometres here. Because you're then going to do your race at 6. If you then thought, actually, I did my race at 6, I want to build this up a little bit more, then take 10 seconds off there, 10 seconds off there, 10 seconds off there. But as you're doing the training, you'll feel when you can go that little bit quicker. But what you don't want to be doing is on those easy runs is then that they become harder runs because you go, actually, I feel all right. And then you start pushing it more. They're easy for a reason. So we're then doing this run here where you're a bit quicker, let's say 6 minute 30 pace. Because you're doing that quicker there, you're not doing it for as long as you're doing here. So let's say you built these runs up here from 30 minutes up to 45 minutes. You then might bring it back down to 30 minutes for these runs here. And then the faster runs, they become slower. So again, you're working into this point. So you've gone from doing what was like a semi-sprint down to doing your 200 meters, your 400 meters, 800, maybe even up to 1,000 meters, but it's still all faster than that race pace. So when you're doing your 1,000 meters here, they're not at 6 minute kilometers. These might be at 5 minute 30s, 5. When you're doing your 400s, they're going to be quicker, your 200s quicker. So again, think you're funneling in to then be able to get really good at your race pace. What the easy runs did here was allow you to be able to do these bit quicker runs here. What the faster runs did here, you're just extending on the distance and slowing them down a bit. So that makes that bit a bit easy here. And then we bring it into that specific prep. What these phases done here have allowed you to then be able to do way more work at the time you want to be running at for your Hyrox. Okay, this isn't taking into account any of all the other Hyrox stuff you're doing. But the point is here, work with your runs, work your ways in, and then fit your other training in around it. So what I mean by that is when you're doing your really easy runs and your fast runs, those sessions should feel easy. If you're finishing them and you're going, these are really hard, you need to learn to run even slower. And you need to relax more on your sprints and maybe do less of them. That's the time, that's your general prep. That's the time when you could also be doing your Hyrox Strong program, where you're looking to develop your strength. So you've got them as your harder sessions and you're running as your easier sessions. So it doesn't mean all your training just goes, right, I'm now just going to learn how to be a runner and I'm just going to run. No, Hyrox is more than that. We know it's more than that. That's why we need to do more. But part of the point of it's here, if you're doing your weight training and you say you got strong and you could bench press or overhead press quite a lot, if you then went and just did endurance work, you're going to lose some of your strength. That's why you then keep in some of that heavier lifting. And that's like where you're running, when you're doing your faster runs, you're keeping in some of those faster runs just to remind your body that you can still be fast. And then when you go into the next phases, you carry it over. The key is two main things here. There's two sides to what you're doing. Slow, fast. Don't just work slow or you're going to teach yourself to be slow. Don't just do fast because you need that pace to be able to do it. Same when you then come in here, there's two sides to what you're doing. So make sure you work them both. And the other thing is everything's working together to build you up to what you're doing. And the other thing is you never want to lose anything you've developed. So you don't want phases where it's just all slow running and then you lose that speed part. Or you don't want part where you just go, I'm just going to do all fast running and you lose that base. Same with your strength stuff. You always want to be maintaining everything while developing something. So think, this is the example. They're working in and really it's there building up. So when you're at the bottom of the pyramid there, that's your big base you're creating. Your next phase, your support phase, that's like your run speed developer program, where you're now doing faster runs, 200s, 400s, and still keeping in some of that slower runs. Then you build up to that specific prep phase. You might be thinking, why can't I just do that specific prep phase all the time? You're working at that top there. If you did 8 weeks of that now, you'll get to the fittest you'd been. It's like you're peaking, but then you've got nowhere to go. You need to come back and do that base at the bottom. So you can work in cycles of doing that, building up. Each time you're doing it, you're gradually making your easy runs a little bit quicker. You're making your fast runs potentially a little bit quicker or a little bit longer. And then when you do that next phase in the middle, The bigger base you've got, the bigger base this can be. If you think about it, if you're going to be doing a lot of training your specific prep, but you haven't done all that stuff beforehand, you're just going to get exhausted and tired out. You'll do some of the specific training and then be like, I need to rest now. I can't go again tomorrow because my recovery isn't there. This is building that recovery. This is developing so much stuff. This bit at the bottom, you can do for a long time. These bits here, 8-week blocks, 6-week blocks, that sort of time. And then you can then cycle back down again. If you were doing it where you were doing, say you had more than one race, that's where you'd still focus on this big base at the bottom and your specific prep. You're only going to do these bits for the 6 weeks and 6 weeks for the race you really want to peak for. You can't do that 12 weeks of training if you're doing 4 weeks, 4 races a year, because you never get a chance to do that base bit at the bottom. So you choose when you're then going to hit that peak, but never underestimate that base at the bottom. Key takeaways: learn to run slow. It's difficult. It's difficult. You'll want to go faster. Learn to run slow. And that is the biggest thing I'll say from it. Learn to do it, get doing it, add it into your training.